Hey, the year was 1985. I was a brand new blushing bride and I had just developed my wedding photos. I walked into a craft store, bought an album, bought pattern paper, and bought stickers and went to town. Fast forward 30 years, or about 30 years, and I'm still doing the wonderful paper craft hobby that I fell in love with back when I was a really young lady. So, I'm Sharon Laakkonen, and I am here with Prima Marketing to share a little bit about me and my creative process. So, in that 30 years, we have gone from pattern paper and stickers to an absolutely huge market of scrapbooking products. They're invigorating, they're exciting, and they're very, very inspiring. So I'm still about the photos. I'm still about getting those memories journaled and into albums so my kids and my grandkids can see them and know, the family history. But I'm all about adding new techniques and new products to them. So let me just share a little bit more of my style and a little bit more about my family. So this is a layout I created about our Christmas last year. And let me zoom in real quick. That is my family right now. There are 15 of us. We've had a baby since then. Not me personally. I have a new little granddaughter. I have 3 daughters, all married, and 4 sons. Not married, but one is engaged. So we are adding to our family. I take a lot of photos, and we make a lot of memories. And it is really fun to record those. What I do is my first love was for layouts, but as the craft industry has evolved, so has my paper crafting. I can do, and I love to do, everything from ATC cards to cards and tags. Let me just pull one up. Tags are so much fun to make. Now this is one that I created for an event that I taught at in Paris a year ago. I keep it up on my display shelf behind me with projects from around the world that people have made for me and some that have memorable moments for myself. And every time I see it, I think about the people that I met there, the wonderful relationships that have started, and just the fun memories there. And you can't forget the French food and desserts, of course. As you craft and as I've learned more techniques and as the industry has evolved, I have also gotten into home decor and mixed media. And this is a great sample of a project that kind of combines both of them. In July, our family took a trip to Florida to the seashore, and Prima also came out with a seashore collection, which was perfect. I kind of built off of the paper colors and created this multimedia layered design. There are no photos from the holiday, but I have this up in our house, and the kids and I, we love it. We look at it and it takes us back to those beaches and the waves and the sunny weather, especially when it's cold outside, and it just brings a little bit of warmth and one of those memories without having a photo to my home. So I really love it. And this one is filled with techniques, but it's a really fun project to do. And I can take those techniques that you may have on a card or a tag, and you can totally expand it and get it onto a layout or a mixed media product. So the next project I want to show you is a layout of my daughter Brianna and her husband Will. Now they just got married a year ago, so they're like, she's that blushing bride now that I was 30 years ago. And I wanted the photo to be the focus. But, of course, I had to play and add some flowers. There are a lot of trendy techniques in here and a lot of trendy products, because that's just what is so inspiring and fun to play with, right? There's some wood elements, gold foil, feathers, of course, a little bit of glitter. But the 2 elements I really want to show you are this colored canvas right here. This was just plain canvas, and I colored it to kind of bring some drama and contrast into the layout itself, as well as this glittery doily effect. It's hard to show on camera. It's very soft and elegant and subtle, but it's so beautiful. And that was inspired by the lace on my daughter's veil right here. So let me go ahead, I'm going to scroll the camera down and kind of just show you two techniques that I did on this layout. So bear with me as I move this down. There we go. That is the finished layout, and I think you can see that paste scroll work a little bit better right now with the lighting. So the first thing I want to show you is how to, this fun little technique right here. It's really fun, it's really simple. We start out with Elemental's canvas, and this is so cool because it has a resist design already built in. It's easy, it's fun, but a lot of people might look at this and go, what do I do with that? And that's where I come in. I love taking these new products and showing multiple ways to use them. So I've already notched this. I know I want a 7x8 piece for my layout. And you know what? Just go with the flow. I always tell my students when I teach, there is no wrong way to do things. There really isn't. If you mess up or something's not quite perfect, it just opens up an opportunity to come up with a creative solution. Isn't that right? And that's a great attitude to have. What I'm doing is using a pinking shears to cut this out. I think it adds a really fun element and a little bit of design without being overwhelming to what could otherwise be a boring piece of paper, right? So we'll get all the edges trimmed off. And I love my pinking shears. I use it on paper too. It just adds a really fun element. And the next thing we're going to do is pull out some color sprays. Now this resist canvas can be colored with any art medium you want. Really, you can use chalk inks, ink pads, watercolors, anything you want to throw at it. You just got to apply the color and the resist magically shows up. So I picked out a couple color bloom sprays. There's Storm Cloud and Precious Stone. They have mica in the bottom, and there is a bead inside to kind of mix that up so that you get the even glimmer on your project. So let's go ahead and shake those. And it's important to do that with each one. Now, I like to start with light and then add my dark. But a little tip to use with the canvas is to prep it first. So I just have some water in a sprayer. I'm going to add a thin coat of water to this. I have a foam brush, and all I'm doing is just spreading that water out. And this helps prep the surface. It creates kind of a water layer so that your art mediums will go on evenly and they'll spread. They won't be all blotched in one section where you applied them. So let's go ahead. We're going to put a little bit of Storm Cloud on there. I don't want to saturate it because I want to go back with the other color and add a little bit of drama. It's very light, it's very elegant. You could stop there, or you could add a bit of drama with the Precious Stone, which is exactly what I want. I don't want it even. And you know, if you're struggling with spreading that out, go ahead and add some more water. It just helps mix everything together. Okay, so now that I have it sprayed, let me just wipe up the overspray. Sometimes I spray directly on paper towel and just lift it up. It's very easy. So let's say I sprayed this on there and I really don't like it. A tip I would teach in my classes is to go ahead, spray the parts you don't like with some water. Go ahead and take some paper towel and press on there. And what you will do is you will lift up some of that gray so it isn't quite as dark. That's just a fun little technique. You know, we do make mistakes sometimes, or we might be a little afraid of trying something. This is a bold color to try, and if you don't like it, there's a little tip for lifting some up. Now let's say you don't really like the plain color. You want to pull in some of those pretty blues that were in the flowers. Well, I pulled off a soft teal color bloom. And what I'm going to do is shake it up a little bit, and I'm just going to spray it in 3 spots. I like to create a visual triangle with some of my elements. It's very subtle, but it gets your eye moving around the page. It evens everything out, and it provides a really nice balance to the project. So this is actually done. You're just going to let this dry. It'll flatten out. If you added a lot of water and it's not quite flattening out the way you like, you can always put a piece of plastic on it instead of a heavy book, and it will flatten out in a couple hours. So that's technique number 1. Resist canvas, some fun color bloom sprays, and a couple tips for using water and paper towel to kind of get the colors you want. Okay, moving along, I want to bring out tip number 2. And this is another fun technique that was used on the project. So we have light paste and art sugar. Let me grab, we want to do some stencil work. Here's the original again. We're going to focus on doing these 2 little design areas right here. Now this uses Epiphany paper. It's a beautiful, elegant line from Prima. I love the light blues in it. I think it's perfect for a wedding. So here we have our paper, and I have a 6x6 stencil. And I know I trimmed my paper down. I cut 1 inch off of the bottom and this side, so really wanted to keep the pattern here as a frame for the layout. So I love this scroll stencil. It's really well loved, as you can tell. And what I'm going to do is put it down near the bottom. So I cut 1 inch off. I want this really close to the edge there. And I'm going to take a little bit of washi tape. You could also use artist tape for this. Peel it off, stick it to your hand a little bit. It will help it so it's not so sticky. So when you go to remove it off your paper, it won't actually tear your paper. It's pretty sticky when you first bring it out. So I like to use that little tip. It picks up a little bit of, you lose some of the sticky off of the tape. So there we have our stencil. It's good to go because what we want to do is keep our hands free to apply the paste. Now this is a mixed media product. Some people might be a little bit afraid of adding this to a layout, especially to paper. So it's an element that I think is one of the most fun things to do in a class to show people what it does. You want to get a palette knife, just like this, or if you don't have one, you can always use an old credit card or a hotel key. These are great because they're flexible and they have that flat surface to use. So what I did is I got a little scoop of the light paste, and the paste is just like a frosting effect. It has that same consistency. It's light, it's fluffy, and it spreads very easily. So I'm just trying to cover all the scroll work on this stencil. We'll get it all in there. And then what you want to do is just go back through and scrape over it. It uses hardly any product and it adds such a beautiful design. So let's go ahead and peel this up. Can you see that design, how beautiful it is? It has a lot of depth to it, a lot of texture, a lot of pattern, but there isn't any weight at all to it. And if you get over your design at all, let's say you get a little bit on your paper, just use your nail or the palette knife or a room key to kind of scrape that off so you get a perfect design. And I repeated it on both sides, but just for the simplicity of showing the technique, you get the idea, right? So you have your paste on there. You want to wipe off your stencil and your palette knife. I keep wet wipes right here in my craft room so I can clean those off quickly and they won't get ruined. And the next thing I did, this is beautiful like it is, but I went and took our Art Ingredients by Finnabair. There is an art sugar. It's in white. I think this is just absolutely stunning. Just take it and sprinkle it on top of the paste while the paste is still wet. So that's kind of the clue right there. It's going to grab this art sugar and hold on to it. Now you could let it dry and then tap off the sugar, which is what I did on my first one just to make sure it was adhered and I didn't bump it off. But I'm just going to shake it around to make sure I got all of it covered. I usually keep a scrap piece of paper on my workstand, and it's great for just tapping off that extra sugar. Can you see that sparkle? You know, it's just one little step, but it makes such an impact when you see your finished layout. It's up on the wall, and Brianna, the first time she saw it, was like, "Oh, Mom, you scrapped my wedding picture," and then went, "Oh, what is this?" And it is so beautiful. It's classy and elegant. And look at that. It took maybe 2 minutes to apply that and put the sugar on, and it's just going to be the most beautiful effect on your layout. So all you have to do, take your paper with your extra sugar, dump it back into your canister, and you are good to go. So once again, that was the Epiphany line, and the techniques I showed you were the resist canvas, where we sprayed it with the 2 different colors of gray, and then we decided we wanted to add a little bit of blue, so we went ahead and added blue to that. That's this piece right here. And then I also showed you the fun paste stencil technique with the art sugar sprinkled on top. So I'm Sharon Laakkonen. I want to thank you for joining me today. I love teaching. I love Prima products. I love scrapbooking. I think it's the best way to bring your experiences, your memories into paper form. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you catch me again. Bye-bye.